thank you all so much for being here. It's really, really wonderful. I always love the opportunity that these conferences provide to connect with people who have become friends over the years, and also it's wonderful to see many new faces here. This conference is actually setting a record for our regional community conferences. So thank you all so much for being here. It's really, really wonderful to have you all. So if I could get the slides up. So just to get started, for those of you who I've not had a chance to meet yet, my name is Josh Sommer. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Cordova Foundation. Like many of you, I am a part of the Chordoma Club. It's a club that probably none of us wanted to be a part of, but I am so grateful to have made it through for the last 13 years, and I think I feel just so lucky to have seen how life has evolved in that time. I know many of us are here at different stages in our journey. Some are newly diagnosed, some have been long-term survivors, some are tumor-free, some are in the midst of a recurrence. There's real diversity in this community, but I think there's also real strength in this community because many of us have walked down a similar path. There's a real opportunity to learn from one another, to share experiences, to connect, to provide support. So, the thing that I really find comfort in is that regardless of where we are in our journey, whether newly diagnosed or whether we have been fortunate to survive for quite a long time, we're really in this together. This is a community that has rallied in incredible ways. And not only do we share a common experience, but I think what is unique about the Chordoma community is the way that we have rallied behind this cause. We have said, this is a solvable problem. This is something that we can take on together. And so that you are all here is really a testament to that. So the Cordova Foundation, as I think all of you know, is an organization that exists for two purposes. First, to improve the lives of those affected by chordoma, and second, to lead the search for a cure. And that's really, both of those things are what today is about. Our vision is a future in which everyone affected by chordoma, every single one of us, is able to overcome the disease and maintain our quality of life. And the Cordova Foundation is here to help in a variety of ways, by providing information, by providing guidance, by providing support, and importantly, providing hope. And we hope that today will provide all of those things. Community conferences are a time for many things. They're an opportunity to learn. There's a tremendous lineup of experts, of physicians, of researchers who you'll have an opportunity to learn from today. But really importantly, it's an opportunity to connect with one another, to form lasting relationships. I know that these conferences provide an opportunity for many of us who have connected online or have connected previously to actually have a chance to meet in person. And importantly, we hope that this is also an opportunity to take action, whether it's to take a next step in your own treatment or to take action in terms of providing support or guidance for a fellow patient, or to take action in getting involved in the foundation in some way. And you'll hear about more opportunities for that later. So I want to really thank all the people who made today possible, in particular the co-hosts of this event and our partners at Northwestern. In particular, huge thanks to Dr. Jp Wolenski, who really has spearheaded this event. Dr. Wolinsky has been a very long time contributor and member of the Chordoma community, attending many of our community conferences and our research conferences all the way back to 2008 when he was at Hopkins. And we are just so delighted that Dr. Wolinsky has come here to Northwestern and is establishing a real center of excellence and center of gravity here in the Chicago area for chordoma treatment and research. I also want to recognize Hannah Harwood for her tremendous work and effort to make this day possible, and all of the physicians and faculty who have taken a part of their weekend, this really beautiful, incredible weekend, to be here with us today and share their knowledge and expertise with all of us. I also want to recognize the all of the Cordova Foundation staff that have worked diligently over the last number of months to make today possible. And in particular, a huge, huge shout out to Shannon. Shannon is over there on the expanded side of the room. Shannon is our fearless director of patient services and really the mastermind behind these events, as well as Chase Hinnant on Shannon's team in patient services and our wonderful, wonderful patient navigator, who I know many of you have had the opportunity to interact with. I also want to take a moment just to thank and recognize our sponsors, Bavarian Nordic and Boehringer Ingelheim, for their support of our community conference series. And again, a huge thanks to Northwestern for hosting us at this really tremendous venue. I think it's safe to say, for those of you who have been to community conferences in the past, this definitely sets the bar. It's going to be hard to beat. So you have a great lineup of speakers and talks coming up, but also a great view, which is a nice bonus. And so just a couple notes of housekeeping. There are bathrooms very close. If anyone needs to get up, go to the bathroom, please feel free at any time. We've crammed a lot in, so don't feel the need to wait for a break if you need to use the restroom. There's also a meditation room if anyone feels the need to take just a break to decompress or to take a little rest. There's a meditation room, and you can find any one of the Cordova Foundation staff for information about that. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Jp Wolenski to kick the day off and serve as our moderator.
So thank you guys, everybody, for coming today. I'm not going to take up much of your time just doing the introduction because we have a lot of great speakers that I'm limiting them to 15 minutes each, and they're going to get the hook pulled off, okay? So, and then we're going to limit also our questions during that time till the moderator, the panel, just so that we can get through all their talks. I want to also share with you guys why we're here at this Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. It's that, you know, at all the different Cordova Foundation meetings that we've had, you always hear from the physicians about surgery, oncology, radiation oncology, and different potential treatments. But a lot of what goes on for patients is the rehab afterwards. And one of the things that's very special in Chicago is this Ability Lab and the greatness that they have here. And some of the patients that are here have been through this place and have experienced this place. And it's just a fantastic model for what can be around the country for patients with chordoma or other issues, because it's a lot of involves a lot of your life. So later when we have the breakout sessions, we'll have some people from the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab that'll talk to the different groups about different things that they can help with. So I wanted to thank also, just like Josh, I want to really put a shout out to Hannah Harwood, who put all this together, and Shannon and her team for doing all this hard work of getting this all to work, and also the people that funded this. So the Cordova Foundation, the Maciej Brain Tumor Institute, and also Northwestern gave the money to help make this happen. So to kick off the day, Matt Lesniak, the chairman of neurosurgery, is going to give an introduction about chordoma in Chicago, and then we'll move on to their different talks. Matt.
Good morning. Does this work? I often hate to speak behind podiums because I think it's very impersonal, but as you heard, my name is Matt Lesniak. I'm the chair of neurosurgery here at Northwestern, and I really want to welcome all of you to Chicago and to Northwestern Medicine and to our department. If you like the venue, we can do this every year. So we are more than happy to host this foundation and all of you and welcome you very warmly to Chicago and to this place so that you can hopefully enjoy not only this conference, but also some of the benefits that the city has to offer. You know, a lot of times when we do these conferences, they're oftentimes focused on physicians. They're sort of for our referring colleagues. So we have a lot of folks from medicine, we have a lot of radiation oncologists, we have a lot of medical oncologists. And as I was talking to Dr. Wolinsky about it the other day, it really struck me that this is one of the first conferences where we just got rid of most of the doctors and focused on the patients. I just want to stress how unique that is, because it actually doesn't happen all that often. And I think the other component about this, which is really astounding to me, and Dr. Wolinsky reminded me about this even this morning, when you think about the real incidence of this disease and the fact that it is so rare, we're talking about 1 person per 1 million who is affected with a chordoma. The fact that we could get 80 or 90 people from around the country and around the world to come in here and be today is really remarkable and quite astounding. If you look around the room and each other, you represent almost a quarter of the US population that is affected by this disease, which is an astounding number. So I really want to thank you for being champions on behalf of the rest of the people who couldn't be here and for coming here, and for participating in what I hope will be a really great educational day and a thoughtful day that really approaches this disease from many different angles. Now, at Northwestern, we're lucky. Some of these buildings that you see actually behind you, they're part of Northwestern Medicine. So yes, that's the Hancock Tower over there, but the building behind us is the new biomedical research building, which is a $1 billion structure that Northwestern has done to invest into biomedical research. That's actually the hospital, one of our outpatient centers. That's the pediatric hospital. So what you're looking at are not necessarily condominiums. This is all part of Northwestern Medicine. And one of the philosophies, I think, of this place has been to integrate not just care, but just the spirit and the human aspects of caring for people. And so I think this environment lends itself really well to providing outstanding leaders in medicine, while at the same time serving somewhat of an inspirational journey for people who are undergoing some really significant and serious and sometimes even life-altering treatments. Now, this morning we have a number of speakers who are world leaders. As has been already highlighted, I was fortunate enough to recruit Dr. Wolinsky, who was at Hopkins for many years, about 2.5 years ago, to this campus, partly because I do believe that one of our missions and responsibilities is to really be world leaders in a very select group of diseases. And he is one such person. He's one of a handful of spine surgeons in the country who does en-bloc resections of patients with spinal cord chordomas. And it's remarkable to see these surgeries, and it's even more remarkable to see when people leave a couple of days later. Sometimes they come here for a short period of time, which is, again, the Ability Center, which for about 40 years has been the #1 rehab institute in the country, certainly in Chicago. And they do an amazing job helping people recover from different procedures if there is a need for that. But we've not only focused on the surgical aspect of this, which for this disease is of course important, because if you can get an en-bloc resection, you can actually potentially achieve a cure. We've also invested into clinical trials and really translational therapies. And one of the people you will hear from today is Roger Stoop. Some of you may have heard of him. He's the only person in the world who's actually changed the treatment for patients with malignant brain cancer twice. He was a professor and chair of oncology at University of Zurich. And for some crazy reason, he gave up the job and came to Chicago. I think it's because of the view, to be quite honest. But you know, you're gonna have somebody who is one of the major trial folks in the world who can really launch any trial at multiple sites, who has actually changed the standard of care for people with brain cancer. And some of our other leaders, like Jim Chandler, who is our director of neurosurgical oncology, and Jim, of course, focuses a lot on brain tumors and has a recognized entity internationally around the world for treatment of patients with chordomas that affect what we call the head, and everything below goes to Dr. Wolinsky. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that the team composes other great folks. So I have my colleagues here in radiation oncology, Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Sachdev. As many of you know, we have a proton facility here at Northwestern, but we also have radiosurgery and other equipment, and these two national leaders will highlight some of the advances pertaining to that. We also have a colleague from University of Chicago, Dr. Derek Park, who is an oncologist, so you'll hear a different perspective from a person in Chicago, as well as some of our nurses and colleagues who focus on the rehabilitative aspects. So, in summary, I really want to warmly welcome you to Northwestern Medicine and to the department. It's a great honor to have you here. As I said before, we would love to have you here every year if you wanted to do that. I think there's something to be said about the central location of Chicago and a pretty view, and we all enjoy, let's just say, the superficial aspects of going to a meeting and enjoying some fine dining and walking around and not just being stuck at a meeting all day. But I think we can actually offer a lot more, and I think the day will illustrate that. So thank you again for coming, and I'll hand this over to now Dr. Wolinsky. Thank you.